It's a beautiful day in West Grove, Pennsylvania. My name is Drew with Cope Construction and Renovation, and I'm coming to you today live to let you know that bird season here in Inniscrone is coming to a close. Now, if you're not from the area, you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you live in West Grove or Avenel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you live in one of these homes in the Inniscrone community, Hills of Sullivan, some of these other places that are nearby, then you are familiar with the birds that like to make homes in your fart fan exhaust vents and the dryer vent exhaust vents. And so these are ones we just finished putting up protection on. This is the neighbor's house that only has protection on this one right here, but this port is wide open and there's a set of family of birds living in that one. So this is what you're looking for. You know, here the screen has been removed, it's gone, and I don't know if the birds took it off or just fell off in the sun or what the heck happened, why it's not there anymore, but it's missing. There's no baffles, there's no exhaust port, there's nothing on this upper one. It's just a wide open 4-inch hole in the side of the house. And the birds are getting in there and they're making a nest. So we're gonna hang out and chat about this for a minute, and maybe those birds will come back and say hello to us here. We'll see whether or not that happens. But this is a problem that we have been working on solving since probably about 2016. And customers called us and said, I think I have a family of birds living in my attic. Can you help figure this out? So if you go to here on our YouTube channel, you click on playlists, we have a whole playlist on the bird invasion in West Grove, Pennsylvania, 19390. And you can watch our live bird rescue video where we took those birds and put them outside and built a new nest for them. And we have a couple other videos that show you how we go about cleaning these out and getting the protection on so that the birds can't get back in. Now, the problem is when we evict them out of one house, they go looking for another home, and sometimes that's the neighbors that doesn't have any protection on it. So why is this a problem? Well, let's talk about the species of bird. First of all, these are starlings, and starlings are known to be a very invasive species in this area. Starlings are a burrowing bird. They like to find deep tunnels and burrows and hollowed out trees and places that they can get in deeply and build a nest. And we have found nests 6 and 7 and 8 feet inside a house. I have seen them 3 and 4 feet long inside of these, pieces of flexible insulated ductwork that might be in the attic. And so they really enjoy the way that these homes were built that give them these ample spaces to get in. And some of these homes only have the 4-inch size vents on here. There are other homes in the neighborhood that have a wide open, like a 6-inch vent with a damper on the inside, kind of a light flexible plastic thing, but it doesn't stay closed. And the plastic grill that's on the bottom after a couple years of sun exposure really begins to disintegrate and fall apart. So that's just not cool. So we really want to make sure that we are taking steps to keep those birds out, and if they've gotten in, we want to clean them out. Now, what are some telltale signs that you've got birds going on and making a nest in your home? So obviously here they're missing the protection, right? And you can kind of see the poop line that comes down as the birds come to the front edge, and sometimes they take a dump before they fly away. So you've got it all down the side of the house, all down your windows, in your flower beds, in your gardens. The house that we just finished putting protection on right here, you can see that very clearly below these vents. That both of those have a whole line of just white stuff that's hanging down from where the birds were in there. So we've got the protection up. The birds are not home. They usually leave during the day unless they're feeding the babies. And so that's great. We'll come back, another morning this week when it's cooler. We can get in the attic and we can work on, cleaning those out and making it more impervious, right? And getting those insides clean so that we don't have the debris on the inside of things. Now, over here on this side of the house, this was another one where they were living, and all kinds of telltale droppings right down here at the bottom. And so we got that bath up, and we were able to clean this one. I think pretty much from the outside we were able to get things out and make things happen so that take the shop vac. We got a really long shop vac hose, put that in there, and do the different pieces that need to be done. Norm, you got one more in the back of the house, down low. One more basket on the back of the house, down low at the bottom. Down like, ankle level. So this has been a fun game that we've been playing, like I said, for a couple of years. And why is this important? Why do you want to get them out? Well, let's say you've got a nest that's built up in your, bath exhaust fan, for instance. Let's just use that as an example. So if these are your bath exhaust fans, and you've got nesting material building up, clogging them, and the kids take a hot, long, steamy shower, it lasts 20, 30 minutes, whatever, all that steam's in your bathroom. It's supposed to have that fan running and exhausting out. But the fan may be running. If that tube is completely clogged with nesting material, that airflow is not happening. So that moisture is staying in the bathroom. It's working on the paint, it's working on the drywall. It may be thermal siphon, heat hot air rising. It could be working up around the exhaust fan, the penetrations into the attic, and putting that extra moisture load in the attic, specifically on the plywood directly above that exhaust fan and wherever those penetrations are through the drywall. And yes, we can air seal those attic penetrations. And if you watch our playlist here on YouTube, Insulation is Sexy, we talk about air sealing those penetrations. If you look at Matt Reisingler's videos on Attics 2.0, we talk about air sealing between the house and the living space, or getting up and actually making those attics part of the conditioned space of the house so it doesn't matter as much. But we don't want to put that extra load on the soffit ventilation, ridge ventilation system for moving air and moisture up and out of your attic. So here's our friend is back. And probably brought a worm and fed the babies, and now you can hear the babies chirping. So this is kind of par for the course of what's going on. So here on this side of the house, let's say this is a bath exhaust fan, they're not able to exhaust that air out. And that means that, they're not getting that moisture out of the house, and that moisture is building up in the attic. And like I said, putting that extra load in. Why is that important? Well, look at our roofing playlist and look at all the videos that we have on there in our interview with the guys from AirVent and Paul, and talking about the importance of proper attic ventilation when it comes to dealing with the shingle manufacturer's warranty. Now, that can be useless anyways. They say, oh, it's good for 160 mile an hour winds, and then they have all kinds of exclusions in their fine print that say acts of God and wind, and anything over 70 miles an hour they're not going to cover for you. So that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother video, which we will get into eventually. But we want to make sure that moist air is getting out. Now, worst case, let's look at a more dangerous situation. Let's pretend for a minute that was a dryer vent that those birds are living in. And if you've got a dryer vent and it's completely clogged with 3 or 4 feet of nesting material because the mom is just trying to stop that flow of air, right? And then the dryer lint's coming up and plugging that even worse. Now you've got that fire hazard. You're running your dryer 2 and 3 and 4 times trying to get the clothes dry and trying to figure out why your brand new dryer is not drying the clothes anymore. What the heck is going on? So it's important that we get that cleaned out so that your dryer is operating efficiently. We can pull the dryer away from the wall and run our snake through and twist things out, and then run it from the outside and clean it from this side as well. But we need to get the babies out of there first, and we need to get a basket over there so moms quit coming back and bringing in more nesting material, because that's just not good for anybody. So this is some of what we've been working on, like I said, since about 2016 here in this neighborhood, trying to find ways to keep them out. And we've come up with a basket system. We use some zip ties to make sure that they're designed to be open so that you can get in there to clean things, but you don't want the birds to be able to open them, and they're pretty smart birds. So we zip tie those shut. Those zip ties are usually good for anywhere from 2 to 4 years, and somewhere in there, one of us needs to get on a ladder and replace them, just to keep them fresh so that the birds aren't breaking it open. Ultraviolet light breaks down that plastic, it eventually falls apart. And the baskets have been pretty solid. The ones we put up several years ago still seem to be holding up well, but it is the zip ties that eventually fail. And you want them to be serviceable. You want them to be able to be opened so that you can get in and do the clean outs, but we don't want the birds to be able to open them. So something else to keep in mind as we're doing this. So a big part of this is, why do we say that bird season is coming to a close? Well, Memorial Day weekend is about here. And by the time, our experience has been that by the time we get to Memorial Day weekend, if we have to get into the attic, it's starting to get hot, and we try to have our crews do this in the early morning. So maybe we come out and do the afternoon, outside protection in the afternoon, but we need to have a morning appointment to come in to do the inside attic work to clean out anything that's cleaned out inside. And by the time we get to Memorial Day weekend, our experience with the starlings is they're usually getting large enough and big enough that they can scamper across the attic and across your insulation. And now we're chasing tiny little critters across your attic and trying not to step through your drywall ceiling. And that's a dangerous situation that we don't want to be involved with. So I really encourage people to say, let's get this done before Memorial Day weekend. And once we get to Memorial Day weekend, we're usually done on the inside work in the attic. And we're going to wait until after Labor Day to come back in the fall and clean out any residual nesting material. But unless it's a dryer event, and then we got to figure something out. But we want to make sure that your house is protected and that we're able to get that ventilation out, whatever the source is that needs to get pushed to the outside. So we have a birds playlist here on our YouTube channel. You can click over to our playlist page and look for the birds playlist in West Grove, Pennsylvania, 19390, and it's in Avondale too. And this will talk to you about some of the different techniques that we use and some of the baskets that we like to put on. And if you have a larger event, we have bigger metal baskets that we can put on. If you have the large 6 or 8 inch plastic vents, we I actually were able to source replacements for those, but we tend to put metal screening, usually 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch screening underneath, and zip tie that into place, and does a great job of keeping the birds back out of those vents. So lots of choices that are available. We want to make sure we get them out. We want to make sure that our guys are safe working up there in the attic, and we want to encourage these birds to go find somewhere else to live that's not inside your forever home. So if we can solve a problem for you, give our team a call, take a picture of what's bugging you. There's nothing our team doesn't do. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, decks, kitchens, bathrooms, basements, plumbing, electrical, drywall, spackle paint. Build your custom dream house in addition to garage, flooring, gutters, drainage. We do a little bit of everything. Take a picture of what's bugging you. Send it to us on our Facebook page. Click over there, facebook.com/CoatBuilt. Click that contact us, message us button there at the top. Send us those pictures for what's going on, and we will do our very best to get you some pricing and some quotes and talk about what's going on. And he came back. We'll get to see him leave again. So send us information to us. If you want to learn about the process of working with us, we are a little bit different than most other contractors. There he goes. You can learn about that by going to coatbuilt.com, clicking on the Our Process button. Watch that video at the top talking about taking you on the journey through the home renovation process, home repair process. We'll go through the Our Process video series that explains what it's like working with our team, how we take special care of you, and letting you know about our full-time office staff standing by to answer your calls weekdays in the morning. Weekdays from 9 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon at 484-748-7708. Click option 2, and our staff will be happy to assist you with whatever is going on at your home. We're finished with it. You're proud to say it's not just done, it was Coat Built. When it's too hard for everybody else, it is just right for us. We'll catch you guys on the next edition of Forever Home. Bird season's coming to an end. If you got them in your place, give us a call, and let's get that solved. Bye for now.